Your eyes up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy.
I think
Right
we've got
on.
16 babies on the ground, and so for me that's like we're basically out of 2-year-olds right now. I think I got, other than my own personal one, we got one more 2-year-old here, and then I got like 25 yearlings that I'm just now getting around to getting going. So it's been
Yeah.
busy.
How many you got to foal?
I want to say they're supposed to be like somewhere around 42 this year, and we lost 2 right at the beginning, so hopefully that's it. So
Well.
we still got a good 25 to go, I think.
Well, if there's one good thing about colts, they will find a way to die.
Yeah.
I mean, they will find a way to kill themselves. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
suicidal little bastards.
We had these 2 never even made it. I mean, they were stillborn. And then we had one that the mom died. It was a recent mare, but she was a good mare. And I come out one day, and one of the barn workers was just like, pointed out her stall to me, and she's laying down in there, and I think the baby was about 4 weeks old, and I went in, and she had like fucked her face all up, like scraped it against something, I didn't know what, and she was acting like she didn't want to get up, and I ended up getting her up, and I was like, I don't know, she looks fine standing in the stall. But then we got her out of the stall, and she like couldn't balance, and she kept falling over and like hitting her head on the concrete, and so we had to put her down. And so,
yeah, that's no good. No way, no. None of those colts are Russian bred, are they?
We might have a mole.
You motherfucker!
I'm not sure.
Kill them all.
Yeah.
Kill them all. There is no Russian colts allowed ever, even if there's a fire.
Yeah.
I wonder, and I truly do wonder if people in, say, 1913 or 1937 were making jokes about the end of the world, like we are now.
Yeah, I can imagine just kind of like from being in the military, like the sick sense of humor that those guys have, to kind of get through everything. You kind of realize that that's ingrained in the culture pretty deep and goes back pretty far. So I can only imagine. We're just lucky enough to be memeing it in real time.
I know. It is a great time to be alive. I mean,
yeah.
It's like I don't think like I bet you the jokes in 1917 were not quite as on point as they were in 1937, but just like the advances in media and shit. But now, like, where we're seeing the propaganda real time, and like the propaganda leading up to it, and like the propaganda that I at least ignored because I had no reason not to ignore it, but it turns out they actually slipped us some truthful statements for once, and we're like, oh Shit, they actually do know what they're talking about. And it's yeah, start of a new we got a comment, not the end of the world, maybe start of a new depression. We've been in a depression for a while. It just hasn't shown up in the numbers yet, I think. But like they're talking about hyperinflation, which means like we're a lot closer to hyperinflation than they care to admit.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy. I was driving around, went into town last night, and I normally always fill up at the same gas station there in town. And since I come down here in August, diesel's gone up $2 a gallon last night. So I drove back into town today, and it had gone up another 20 cents overnight. I've never seen diesel this high.
Yeah. It's
$4.89.
my wife paid $5.19 for premium the other day. Like, I mean, it was at one of the Indian casinos, so that that's always way higher than everywhere else. But she was like running on fumes, so just she coasted in there and just put like $20 in to get into town. But even then, though, it was still $4.19 for premium, and I mean, I'm really glad I don't live in California. It's
no shit.
I'm like, we're right there close, but California is absolutely beautiful as a state, but you could not pay me enough to live there right now.
And I mean that's how Oregon's kind of not.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the state of Oregon, but it's just gone so far off the deep end. We had to get the hell out.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. Like there's times where I feel like we're getting crowded out here in Nevada, and it's nowhere near as bad as Oregon or California. And there's it's just so weird. Like you experienced it in Oregon, where just outside of those like few little pockets of population, like it's a pretty goddamn normal place.
Right.
It just so happens you have Portland as your population center, and you're just like, you've got Portland or people that are up in the air about Claude Dallas.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, it's a wild time to be alive. I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I can and not think about just how fucking dark it could be.
Yeah.
God damn, dude. It's like I was really wrong. That was another one I really got wrong. Was I was like, there's no way Putin is invading. Like this is just another one of those deals to. I was like, they're gonna like shake their fist at Putin, and he's gonna continue along with their military exercise that they do all the time, just like North Korea firing their missiles. It's just like a show of force, and then Biden will shake his fist at Putin, and then Putin will just continue to move down the line or whatever, and then Biden will have a good speech going in the midterms.
Yeah.
And I thought that was for sure what was happening, and then no, motherfucker, he invaded. You're like, huh, well, okay then. Well, huh, I don't know. Like, what? Fuck, that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. I was listening to, gosh, what was I listening to? Oh, Adam Carolla. And he said, like, obviously, like, Putin's crazy. Or he's not crazy. He's a bully.
Yeah.
And like, the only thing that really works on bullies is crazy.
Yeah.
The only thing they're scared of, because you don't know what a crazy person's going to do. And that was Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And so everyone here, on the left was all saying, oh, he's involved with Russia. He's involved with Russia. And, whether that was true or not, Putin's got to be saying, like, well, shit, if we do anything, like, Trump is going to have to go extra hard in the paint to prove that he wasn't involved with us. You know, so kind of kept him at bay a little bit. So as soon as we get this guy that shits his pants at the Vatican and doesn't know where he is, he's just like, whatever, let's do it.
Oh, yeah, Joe Biden. For the Uranian people.
Right.
Stand with the you'll never win the hearts and minds of the Uranian people.
Dude, what was it with Pelosi in that? Like,
oh, did you see the one that said like when a fly lands on your food and she's just like that was the funniest thing I thought I'd seen all day until fucking Wiseman made my promo video. God damn it. Yeah, I was mildly impressed with the State of the Union. Mostly that he made it all the way through. Like, he made it a full hour, and outside of a couple slip ups and one where like he started to trail off, and then he made it around to the end, but it was like it was about the Rust Belt. It was like and we're not going to call it the Rust Belt anymore. It's no longer going to be known as the Rust Belt. It'll be known as the land of abundant and economic opportunities. Like, hell, it's a little wordy. It's a little wordy, Joe. I don't know. You might want to work on your branding on that one. Like back to the old brain trust with that nickname.
How low are have our expectations gone that we're just like, it was a good State of the Union. He made it all the way through without like falling asleep or having a heart attack.
I would have been like equally surprised, I guess. If he would have shit himself there. And it would have been I wouldn't have been that surprised one way or the other. Either
Right.
put together a coherent State of the Union or shit your pants. It could go one way or the other.
Yeah.
And it did seem like the Adderall or whatever they're pumping him full of was starting to wear off there towards the end. But the State of the Union is strong because the American people are stronger or something.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
What'd you think about your girl heckling him?
my girl Marjorie. I think I'm off.
No, the other one.
My girlfriend Bobert. Yeah. She. I don't hate it. That's what I would expect Bobert to do. That's a classic Bobert move.
Yeah.
She wasn't completely wrong like most. I gotta say, after listening to Marjorie Taylor Greene on the Tim Pool podcast, she's still pretty crazy, but she's a lot less crazy than I thought she was.
It's more just a kind of theatrics.
Yeah, but she's still pretty crazy. Like in your you're really it's like a really evangelical aunt that you have,
Mm-hmm.
but also that same evangelical aunt will throw down some Pinot Gris and talk a little shit like that. That's kind of what Marjorie Taylor Greene. I used to think she was full science squatch, but I think maybe she's just we haven't seen enough of Marjorie Taylor Greene to we only it's one of those, it's a media narrative,
Yeah, sure.
And then they shut her up on everywhere. Like they just show you what they want you to see about her.
Mm-hmm.
And which yeah, so but she's still, I think, certifiably crazy, but she's a fun crazy, I think.
Yeah.
I think she'd be a good time.
Yeah, through the whole COVID thing and stuff, I know that we all, everyone's talking, this is straight from 1984. This is straight from 1984. And I mean, I said the same thing, but now that we got the whole Russia-Ukraine thing going on, and it's like how hard that's being pushed on us, like this is literally 1984. Like the war isn't meant to be won; it's meant to be continuous.
Yep. Yeah, and like to his credit, Joe Biden hasn't gotten us into World War III yet. To his credit, he's, I don't know. I guess ever since they've moved in, he's handled it about as good as you can handle it. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
Like he, it's just kind of like, well, I don't know. What do you do now? You just like we absolutely can't do the no-fly zone thing. That is fucking retarded. Like that.
Yeah.
That means the end of mankind as we know it. Like
we've got like what we've got now is like non-interventionalism through sheer incompetence.
Yeah, right. Like we're still pumping a whole bunch of fucking weapons into them, but we're kind of staying out.
Yeah.
Kind of. Like it's, oh my God. And there's I was talking with Tony Cowden earlier today. He's a former special forces guy. He's running for the 3rd district of North Carolina.
Okay.
And yeah, we're just like, and, you know, and he's very much, he's like, I'm a soldier, so like if that's our mission, we're going over there, like I'll go. I'll be there. I'm, you know, but this ain't worth it. Like this is not worth a single American life. And when you look back through the years and you look, like Putin requested to join NATO, that seems like it might be a pretty good fucking idea, because then if he's in NATO and he decides to invade Ukraine, well, if Ukraine and Russia are both in NATO, then all the other NATO countries have to join against Russia and Ukraine at the same time. So it makes sense for them just not fucking invade each other when you're all in NATO. But instead, we've got to have the big bad boogeyman over there. Like, oh, we finally defeated you. But we don't want peace with you, so you're not going to be in our treaty.
Right.
And then we're going to like take more of your old land and put them in our organization. And I was just like, goddamn, dude.
It seems really short-sighted. It's like we need to kind of just spank Russia, like every little chance that we get, and tell them no, because like they're a legit power, and like if them and China decided to, like, that's the only thing I'm actually kind of worried about, is them and China joining up. I mean, we'd all be fucked.
Yeah, it'd be a whole different deal. I've got a theory. I was telling you right before we got on air, like this is what I was saving. But what if the Cold War was World War III? Because, you know, it's even though like we weren't like in active conflict with the Soviet Union, like there's still a lot of goddamn people that died during the Cold War. And World War I, we thought that was, you know, at the time we thought it was the worst thing that ever happened. It said no more. And then World War II was even worse, just like 30 years later. Well, we're coming up on 30 years about at the end of, or I guess it's been about 30 years, the end of the Cold War. And we're acting a lot like the Allied powers after World War I. And like how we just continued to like just shit on Russia after the end of the Cold War. And so like maybe Putin's not the Hitler in like the slaughter all the Jews sense of history, but he could very well be the Hitler in like we're tired of being pushed around.
Right.
But I don't think that's necessarily Putin's the guy. It's like who's causing a stink in Russia right now. That's who you got to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, I mean, Putin might be the Weimar Republic of Germany,
Right.
and so it's the guy that overthrows Putin. Is that's who you got to worry about.
Yeah.
So I don't know, that maybe that's kind of a theory I've had running around in my head. Like maybe the Cold War actually was World War III. We didn't realize it at the time.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
We and now, like, we're so far removed from the dropping of the nukes that, like, people are starting to get a little careless.
Yeah.
Like we're having you know, way too real of a Cuban Missile Crisis going on right now over there, and like let's just pump the brakes a little bit.
Right.
we can shake our fists, but let's not. Yeah. Lindsey Graham's
Oh
calling
my God.
for assassination. What a fucking turd that guy. God, I hate that guy.
I do too. I do too.
I mean, I enjoy I enjoy him in the same way I enjoyed Trump. Like, he is pretty entertaining at times, but he does not need to be in a position of power.
No.
He's yeah.
I love his saber rattling, but like to hear him deliver it, someone ought to be over there assassinating Putin. You know? Like, that dude's compensating for something.
Yeah, he's well, yeah, Senator Ladybugs. We got a comment here. Russian demographics, one of the oldest populations on the planet. Average male lives to 65. They're a failed country lashing out to stay alive. That's not at all inaccurate. That's a pretty good observation. I forget where I had heard. I think it was Jack Carr. I was listening to him on Drinking Bros the other day, and I think it was him that said it. But they're yeah, he's right there. The Russian, like, ethnic Russian population has been on the decline for a while, and like, the biggest population of ethnic Russians outside of Russia itself is in Ukraine, and that's very much a disputed region, like that eastern Ukrainian region, and the fact that Ukraine's basically been it's been part of Russia since like 1650 or 1700, somewhere around there is kind of when Ukraine, like, officially became part of the Russian Empire. So I don't know, it's not as simple as, like, Ukraine being a sovereign nation. Like, it's just, it's not. And the fact that they've been in a not like full out civil war, but pretty hot civil war for the last 6 or 7 years also shows that it's not as simple as just Ukraine being a sovereign country. But yeah, so it was Peter Zehan on geopolitics. Okay, so that's where I heard it from. But yeah, and it very much is like a a survival type move, for as far as whether it's truly is a survival move, or at least that's what it kind of seems to be in Putin's head. So that's probably not a great thing. I don't necessarily disagree with Lindsey Graham saying, like, somebody ought to take the guy out, but also it's probably not something you should say.
Yeah, no shit.
Aloud when you're a sitting U.S. senator.
Yeah, there's something called OPSEC.
Yeah, yeah, like, and it still very much is, at least from our point of view, like, we're very much a diplomacy first standpoint right now. Like, Ukraine, that's a different story since you fucking invaded. Like, that's a whole different the diplomacy part's kind of over on their end, but
Right.
we're still not like officially involved, so we can still play the diplomacy card a little bit, and calling for the guy to be taken out publicly. That doesn't help with the diplomacy much.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there's a lot of Ukrainians that share that sentiment, but are also like, shut the fuck up. I don't know, man. It's a weird. It is it is quite fascinating to see the propaganda on like all the way around, like whether it be like Russian, whatever, what little Russian propaganda they allow us to see nowadays.
Hmm.
But it also, I mean, whether it be the Snake Island hoax or the Ghost of Kiev hoax, or the fact that everybody says Kiev now. Like I'd never once heard it called Kiev until this invasion happened. It was always called Kiev.
Isn't Kiev like how the Ukrainians say it, and Kiev is the Russian?
That's what I've heard. I guess that's how I understand it, but I had never heard it called Kiev until the other day when Russia went ahead and invaded. Then all of a sudden it was like it's everybody on the, and it wasn't just like mainstream press. It was like even all the podcasts and shit were saying Kiev, and I was like, I've never once heard it called that before.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's weird. It's weird how like those talking points like hit. Like it's fucking creepy how it all at once like.
Yeah. Well, then I saw about how, like, what about how this whole Russia thing happened? Like, what was it? 2 weeks, 3 weeks before all that Pfizer clinical data come out.
Yeah, and you know, like, when do we give Putin his Nobel Prize for
for ending COVID?
Ending COVID, yeah, like
single-handedly.
Like, yeah, but without a doubt, he fucking ended that shit. Like nobody cares anymore. Yeah, and so much so that I saw a couple memes about the Pfizer data, but I have yet to like go look at any of it. And yeah, it's weird. There was kind of a flash in the pan conspiracy theory about the AIDS stuff. And have you not heard about like the vaccines causing AIDS?
No.
Yeah, that was a theory that I'd seen floated around. And then on top of that, there's like all of a sudden there's an AIDS vaccine and then like another AIDS treatment on the market, and maybe there's something behind that. I don't know, but I that's one that seems a little too far out there for me to put a whole lot of stock in there. But I will say it is kind of intriguing that there's this it's something to do with the mRNA vaccine. I forget what it was.
I think it's unfair for the rest of us that the people who, you know, their Facebook profile picture is them with a mask on, and they have the little frame that says, I got my COVID vaccine, and then they change it to, I got my booster, and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Like these people whose entire personality was being afraid of COVID. Like, yeah. I think it's unfair for the rest of us that they just get to move on to the Russia thing without us having adequate chance to make fun of them.
Oh yeah, well, I know they did really good at just like about face and on to the next one. David, yeah, you're right. We are definitely involved. What I mean, we're not technically involved is we don't have troops on the ground with an American flag patch on their shoulder. Like we have, I'm sure we have troops on the ground, but with no identifying marks. That can tie them back to the U.S. government. But We're not officially involved as we don't have troops over there, but yeah, we're definitely involved. We have been for a long time. Yeah, it's a shit show. And that's before you even tie in any of the Romney, Biden, John Kerry, Burisma bullshit. Like there's just so much fuckery involved in Ukraine that, god damn, dude, it's where do you even start?
How have we skipped over that?
Yeah, yeah, like that's somehow became. Just because there's no like full-fledged Russian troops on the ground now, we've managed to just skirt by the fact that, yeah, Hunter Biden was like just elbow deep in Ukrainian asshole, just pulling puppet strings back there somehow, and
Yeah.
and that's part of the reason why like Ukraine's such a big deal to the administration is. Well, if the Russians start leaking out a bunch of the shit that was going on, boy, that doesn't look good for the sitting president of the United States, shitting president of the United States. Yeah.
I didn't know Mitt Romney was mixed up in that.
Yeah, I think now with I guess in all transparency, that was something that I heard a while back, and I have never followed up on it. But you remember, Mitt Romney was the one saying that Russia was the the greatest geopolitical threat.
Oh yeah,
running for office. So it's
Obama
one of
said the 1980s called and want their foreign policy back.
Yeah, and the thing about Mitt Romney is he's Mormon and he's got about 11 billion kids, and it's really hard to keep track of all of them. So I'm not sure which one of them it was that was involved in this natural gas deal in Ukraine. But like I said, it's one of the Romney kids. From what I hear, and somebody would have to. I don't care to do the further research on it. I'm gonna say it as truth because it's probably true. I don't have much to back it up.
That's fair. God, that dude's a scumbag.
Oh, he's such a dirtbag, and but just comes off as very squeaky clean.
Yeah, he was the governor of like what, Massachusetts or something?
Massachusetts, yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I want to go into the Senate. How can I win? Well, yeah. I'm Mormon. Like maybe I could go buy a house in Utah."
No, hey, I helped with Olympics back in the day there, and hey, yeah, but it does go to show you though that a lot of money and just know your constituents. Being
yep.
Utah being probably one of the I'd say top 3 most Republican states in the country.
Oh yeah,
it'd be like Oklahoma, Utah, probably Wyoming.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. Like, it's like those memes. Like, everything makes me miss him. It's like everything makes me think of Trump. Like, do you remember when Trump was talking about how Mitt Romney walks like a penguin?
Oh, he bitched Mitt Romney so hard. Like he shit all over him. And then he gets elected, and then he floats out the idea that he's going to have Mitt Romney as Secretary of State. Even invites him to Trump Tower, and then picks somebody else and shits all over Mitt Romney. It's like, that's cold. I mean, I secretly love it, but still, it's like that is a little harsh.
Yeah, it's like, as much as I did not like Trump, especially going like into 2016, like I got used to 4 years of just like this dude trolling everyone.
I know it,
and I miss it. I really miss it, I gotta say.
I know, and I finally got signed up for the Truth Social. I signed up just to see what it was. I was, I think, 9 days on the waiting list before it finally it finally let me in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. And Trump has only tweeted or truthed. I don't know what they call it. He's only got one post on Truth Social, and it was just saying like big news coming or something like that.
And what's
So
the deal with that? That's his platform, like that he come up with.
yeah, and Devin Nunes is like the CEO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't imagine it's gonna be worth a shit, but I I uh I've made an account just to see. Like I typically do on all these new ones. Just you never know when one will take off, but I
Right.
don't. This one I don't know. Um, I don't know if it'll take. Like I'm sure it'll catch some steam for a minute, but
Whatever happened? Did Parlor ever come back?
the question about shortages. I've heard of people low on fertilizer. I haven't seen much shortages yet, but that's only a matter of time. Are you guys you seen anything uh any shortages down that way?
Just like the like at the grocery stores, that's been going on.
Yeah.
But it's like my wife tells me every time she goes to the grocery store, there's like we're like right smack dab in the middle between two towns, and so the the Walmart in Waxahachie sucks, but the one in Ennis is good. So she always goes to that one, and she'll come back and be like, "Man, even the Walmart in Ennis doesn't have this, this, and this," So,
Oh yeah. Like
yeah,
I've noticed. Yeah, I've noticed a few things here and there, but like I don't I don't think it was so much due to supply chain stuff as it was just regional. Like
yeah,
it's hard to get Topo Chico out here, but like I know you can. It's fucking everywhere down in Texas. So
yeah,
uh, like and it's not like the ladies at the Smiths here. Like they'll say they'll get a shipment in, and it's gone within a couple hours. Like before noon, when the truck comes in, the Topo Chico's gone. So
Oh, really?
yeah, so but like it's stuff like that I've noticed, but like not there hasn't been too much, but like I said, it's I think we'll start seeing that. I don't know when they're actually talking about hyperinflation in like your legacy media. That's not a good sign.
Right.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah, like you said, if they're talking about it, it's worse than we thought it was.
Yeah, yeah, but hey, they finally found a culprit for this inflation. You know, it's that goddamn Vladimir Putin.
Right.
We should
That
we should cancel him, and we should cancel all the Russian teams from the soccer games on video, the video soccer games. Like, no Russians allowed there.
Well, now they're not letting them be part of the cat showing federation.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know that was an actual thing. I guess I I'd never thought that much about it. I don't think much about cats, but yeah, that's how you know it's serious. That's
right. Yeah.
that's how you. It is no wonder we put a bunch of Japanese people in camps. Like the way people are acting right now, I now I see how that happened.
It's like I'm sure it was the Babylon Bee that said like Russian invasion of Ukraine canceled after problematic tweets from Vladimir Putin from like 2012.
Oh fuck! Babylon B has been on a roll here. Well, they've been on a roll here lately, but it is wild. Like, can you imagine how bad that shit would be if we were actually at war with Russia? Like, yeah, I could see I could see them opening up camps.
Oh yeah.
I'm understanding how that shit happened back then. Like that's
Well, shit, they were ready to open them up for unvaccinated people.
That's
Americans.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it's wild. Like, so now it's Visa, MasterCard, and American Express have like ceased operations in Russia. I didn't see did Biden announce his executive order on cryptocurrency. I'd read something that he was expected to, but I didn't.
I don't know if Biden did, but I know like Coinbase and like those kind of companies are like independently doing it on their own.
Yeah, independently.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed like a whole bunch of updates to the terms of service on Coinbase, and there was another Bitcoin wallet that I was using, and it's same thing. Well, it got bought by Coinbase, and like, hey, now you got to have all this, and you can. But they have a cheery way to say it that we're watching you. Like, hey, you can file your tax return directly on the Cash App, meaning we know you've been using the Cash App for transactions. Yeah, it's wild. That's like I wonder how these sanctions are going to play out, because they typically don't work.
Right. Well, and the thing too is like we're punishing Russia, where it's like, okay, we've been saying for all these years that Putin is like a dictator who just like kills all his opposition. So
yeah,
it's a pretty safe bet that like a lot of the people of Russia are not necessarily loyal to him or even behind him.
yeah.
And those are all the people we're punishing. Like Putin doesn't give a shit about the sanctions.
Well, and then they made a big stink about Russia banning Facebook, but they leave out the part where Facebook banned RT and the other, I think it's what's it's called, Sputnik, the other like state media organization.
Yeah.
Facebook banned them, and so that Putin's like, no, fuck you. You are not. I'm not allowing this shit to. You're not gonna push your bullshit here.
Right.
Fuck off. No more Facebook.
Yeah.
And like one of the first or like one of the main takeaways from Sun Tzu's Art of War is know your enemy.
Right.
Well, if you ban their media sources, like how do we know what they're thinking? Well, like we know that like the CIA obviously has assets and shit over there, but like the regular public, I mean, it's a good thing to see what the Russians are saying about us, you know.
Yeah, like what's the climate over there?
Yeah, at least so we kind of know what we're up against. But
yeah,
no, the fact that you ban them their own people from seeing it, yeah, this is not America over there. I mean, that's not America. Like they don't have to do shit for you. and Vladimir Putin's like, no, fuck off. No Facebook. And I don't know. It's a weird one. That whole deal is weird. I'm not sure how it's going to play out.
It's very, whatever's going on or whatever we're told's been going on, either way, it's very fertile soil for my two favorite things, memes and conspiracy theories. So
yeah,
it's that time.
It is. Yeah, like there's and I haven't seen a whole bunch of it. But I've seen a few stories about like biolabs in Ukraine that was part of the what Russia was targeting was these bioweapons labs, and whether that whether there's any truth to that or not, I don't fucking know. I didn't dive that far into it, but it sounds awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, it sounds like something I want to believe in.
I know. It's so funny. Like, as much as I like to, like, you know, well, show me the proof, and then I'll decide, you know, what I think of it.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to admit I'm very guilty of being like, this is a conspiracy theory that I like, so I want that to be true, so that's
Yeah.
going to be my conspiracy
I
theory.
want that. Yeah. Yeah. I have not heard what the Sasquatch situation is in Ukraine. Would
Yeah,
be
that's still developing.
yeah. I don't of course I didn't do any research either. I might have to. But like Bigfoot's one of those like you can really go down rabbit holes on that. So like it's just one. It's better just to leave that one be for now.
Oh
I
God.
don't have the time. I don't have the time for it at the moment.
I'm sure you've seen the video. Everyone's seen it, but of that Russian dude like doing the ab exercises, hanging from the tree while
With
the other
the
dude's
bear.
punching him, and the bear's bouncing the tree. Like those Russian dudes are just like built so different from us that like,
Oh,
can you imagine what their Sasquatches would be like?
oh my God! It's insane. All right, so I was watching. I think I was 2 weeks ago, or because this last weekend was Covington, Covington, Masvidal, but it was the one before. It was Bobby Green and that Islam Makhachev guy, who's like Khabib's protege,
Oh,
and
okay.
they're both from that Dagestan area of Russia, and yeah, like there's videos of like 8-year-old wrestling bears, and like
Yeah.
they are different people.
Yeah.
They are different.
We're
And
over here
and
just deciding what gender we are today, and they're wrestling bears.
oh, I know. And so like Bobby Green's kind of one of those been around the UFC a long time and kind of a fan favorite, and he boxes really good. I thought, well, it was like a short notice fight, and I was like, well, he might be able to, maybe he'll get a few good licks in and make a good fight. I mean, this Russian dude submitted him in the first round, or I guess he didn't submit him. He took him down and was just beating his head in with his elbow, but they stopped it in the first round, and this is like no slouch of a fighter,
Right.
and yeah, it's and he just like made short work of him. There's like those, yeah, that's a different type of person over there.
Yes, that's it.
But I
Covington
don't.
and Masvidal, aren't they both like big, outspoken Trump guys?
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah, and that was probably the biggest pay-per-view of the year, and it wasn't even a fucking title fight. It was
They're both fighting for Daddy's approval.
pretty much. Well, yeah, Covington won that one, but yeah, Covington's been the real outspoken Trump guy. Like he was wearing the MAGA hat everywhere, but of course he's leaned into that heel role very well. Masvidal is just a straight up just a thug. Like he's fucking gangster. I love that guy.
Yeah.
Like,
he's got kind of got the whole like immigrant thing. Like I've seen like how shitty things can be, and that's why I like Trump. Like more kind of legitimate.
Yeah.
Where Covington is more just kind of like
it's a show.
Yeah.
Like he's got a kind of a boring style of fighting. So he went full Floyd Mayweather. He had to he talks a bunch of shit and hypes it up because his fighting style is just not that style doesn't sell, but the shit talking does. Yeah, so he's made a career out of it. He does well, and he's a hell of a fighter, but he's a guy that a lot of people want to see get his ass kicked. So
yeah, and I have nothing but respect for that, because I mean, if you could ask me if I could have any job in the world and be successful, shit talker would be at the top of my list.
oh yeah. I like the art of subtle shit talking too. Like
Yeah.
that's why I like trolls. Like I like when people get riled up not knowing they were supposed to get riled up. I love it when they take the bait.
Right. This is kind of off topic, but it's really off topic. But made me think when you said that. Have you seen this dude? He has the screen name like Ken M. And he would
Maybe.
just troll people, like just the stupidest shit you've ever seen. But like he'd go on like the Yahoo News forums and stuff like that, and like talk about like it'd be like an article about bacon, and he'd be like, "My wife makes her own bacon. It's cheaper and healthier." And someone would be like, "How do you make your own bacon?" And he'd be like, "She crushes up hot dogs with a rolling pin." And like people get so worked up about it. Like he's like the ultimate troll. You gotta look it up.
That's awesome. David Day was mixing up a bottle calf. Take it easy, buddy. Thanks for watching along. That's there's worse things to listen to, I guess, when you're feeding bottle calves. So
Yeah.
no, it's I do love a good troll. That's why Michael Malice is one of the best Twitter follows. He's a fucking
Oh my
savage.
gosh, I love that guy.
He's such a like. He's not. Is he gay? He's not gay, is he? Because I've never been sure.
I think. Yeah. I think that's about the consensus.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I wouldn't be surprised one way or the other.
Right.
I don't know. But he's just such a weird little fella.
Yeah.
And tiny. He's like 4'9" or some shit like that.
He's down here now. I guess he moved to Austin.
He's in Austin, which is he's supposedly gonna learn how to drive soon.
Yeah.
Fucking New Yorkers, they don't know how to drive.
Yeah, so I've been listening the last few months to a lot of like the Audible books. Because I just have like a lot of, what do you call it, found time during the day. It's like I'm busy doing stuff, but like I could have my earphones in. And so I was trying to get that one he wrote, the Anarchist Handbook, I think it's called. Of course. Of course, that's not on Audible, but The New Right.
That one's really interesting.
It is. I love it. It's like it's almost like a how-to guide on internet trolling.
Oh, I know it. And he really took a deep dive into like he was well ahead of the curve on like how the whole Trump movement was because like it's just funny how Trump became the figurehead of that whole weird like right-wing movement. And it's not, I don't even know if it was like, well, like you said, it was the new right. I mean, that was the best way to put it. It's and a lot of those characters that he talked about, like they're nowhere to be found anymore. Like they've effectively silenced most of them.
Oh yeah.
That Cantwell guy, I remember he he went on Dave Smith's podcast like right after Charlottesville, and yeah, I think he's in prison now. But
oh really?
I think so, or at least he was facing prison time. I know that for that whole Charlottesville, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Was it? Oh no, that one was more recent. What was the one that happened recently where like they busted a bunch of like leftists marching around with tiki torches?
Oh, that was the Virginia governor race.
Oh, that's right.
It was a bunch of the Lincoln Project people, like those neocons. Right? Yeah. They posed in front of a Youngkin bus, and it turns out, they I guess didn't realize that the internet was a thing, and people like immediately found them like, hey, these are all Democrats here.
Yeah. Dude, that's the thing is like people like those 4chan people are really good at that. Like
Yeah,
they don't
you remember
time.
you remember when what's his name Shia LaBeouf put that camera
Yeah.
like and
And
it
they
was
kept
like
finding where it was.
yeah, it was like supposed to be like some protest against Trump or some whatever the fuck those actors do. And yeah, internet trolls found it within like 2 days.
Oh,
They
God bless the internet.
I mean they found what was the chick's name this summer that her boy Brian Laundrie was the boyfriend. What was her name?
Oh, Gabby Petito.
Yeah. Like it was within a day or so that they found like people like, oh yeah, we saw them right over here.
Yeah.
Like it's the internet's undefeated,
Yeah.
and people like seem to forget that the internet exists at times. I don't.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, it's wild. I don't know. Strange time we're living in. Strange time.
Yeah.
It's I wonder what it looks like in November. Like we just crossed over into March and it feels like 2022 has lasted 10 years already.
Yeah.
Like it just like these years like I remember doing the year-end episode 2019 thinking like holy shit 2020 is going to be a wild ride. And then it just got progressively worse.
Yeah.
It just like I remember the like some of the very early episodes of this show talking about how the media was at peak outrage and like how how do you get more outrage than you already are? And they just keep like climbing that ladder and they've never stopped. And that was in 2019. I was talking about that.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
and it's just it's like they don't even allow themselves to build up into outrage anymore. They just the level of outrage stays the same. They just shift topics.
Yeah. It was and it was like this whole Ukraine deal. It was just like Russia. It's gonna happen, and then like it did happen, and they were like, stand with Ukraine, and then it's cancel Russia, just cancel everything Russia. Like even your governor was like, remove all Russian vodka from the bars.
Oh my gosh, that was the ultimate. Like I actually had to like respect OLCC and the Oregon government for that. I was like, you have managed to intertwine extreme government overreach with virtue signaling. Like it was masterfully done.
It was like when Ron DeSantis banned Ben and Jerry's from Florida or something. I forget exactly what he did, but I was like, oh goddamn, dude, it's it's wild. It's wild. Be a real American. Stop drinking vodka.
Right.
Or at least not Russian vodka.
I heard. I was listening today, and they were talking about how the guy who like owns Stoli said that, and I guess he does like they don't even make it in Russia. They make it in where the hell was Borat from? Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan?
Or no, not Kazakhstan. Latvia.
Oh, okay.
They make it in Latvia, and he's like, yeah. So to distance ourselves from the Russian brand, we're just gonna call it Stoli from now on. It was like, that's what everyone like. No one knows what it's actually called. We all just call it Stoli anyway.
Yeah. Well, and we still know it's a Russian name because we can't pronounce it.
Yeah, exactly. It's got a lot of CHs in it.
Yeah, it's all consonants.
Right.
And as far as we're concerned, Polish, Ukrainian, Russian, we can't read your name. We can't pronounce your names. I'd be way better off pronouncing a Spanish name.
Yeah.
than a Slavic or a Russian name. So yeah, for all intents and purposes, you can throw Germany in there too. They're just the same, basically, in my book. They
They
eat a
need to
lot of
buy a vowel.
potatoes and you know, yeah. And they're also they're kind of a problem when they start feeling proud about themselves. Like they're a problem for the rest of the world.
That was the most understated summary of Germany I've ever heard.
Well, I sent Aaron a screenshot of it's like when Germany decided to boost their defense spending
Oh
to
my
like
God.
110 billion or something like that. And I was like, I sent him a screenshot of that, and then the GIF of Marty McFly. Oh, hey, I've seen this one before.
Yeah.
When Germany starts feeling proud and spends a bunch of money on their military, it's usually not a good thing for the world. So
Yeah.
let's do.
Or the one about how like Germany always loses world wars and now they're on our team.
Yeah. So let's let's quietly back away from NATO all the way around. Just like this is starting
Like-
to look eerily similar to either World War I or World War II. I'm not sure which one yet, but it's looking way too close to that, and I don't want to be part of it.
Yeah, that's a meme I haven't seen made yet. It's like when Germany's on your side in the upcoming World War, and it's Homer Simpson backing into the bushes.
Yeah, for sure. It's now it's exactly what George Washington warned against in his farewell address. Getting intertwined in European affairs and going across the world looking for dragons to slay. It's
Yeah, no kidding.
my word. It's amazing how they called that shit early on.
Right. It's like, how stupid do we have to be that we can't see the things that are happening right in front of us? But
Yeah.
the people from 200-300 years ago, like, already warned us about it.
Yeah, and it's also funny is like they warned us about it because they were going through it. Like they're like, hey, we're fucking this up right now. Don't do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing how I don't know it's there's so many signs that show that like it's the end stages of an empire, and we just I don't know. I'm sure the Romans didn't want to admit it when it was happening to them either, but yeah, it's wild. But if we get involved any further in that Ukraine deal, like if we thought the Iraq war was expensive, fuck me. Like when we're talking like a full-fledged like, and when you got Russia fighting a war like we did in the 20th century, like that's not a handful of special operators that can go fuck up a bunch of shit. No, like you're talking armored divisions going in.
Yeah.
And like that's a different level of warfare that we haven't seen since, like, I guess Korea probably, huh?
Well, and like I said, like what I think about that doesn't seem like anyone else, in the media or anything is thinking about is like, what happens when China gets involved?
Yeah. Well,
like
and
us increasing our spending on stuff, like our military, which don't even get me started on our military budget, but that's all dependent on the money we get from China.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that more than like short term that I mean that's all worrisome, but like even at the level that we're involved right now, like there's that Nazi battalion or brigade or whatever that's part of the Ukrainian National Guard now that we've funded and trained. Well, what happens if they somehow like really gain power in Ukraine and they become, Nazis, like the Nazis that we all know and love. And they start doing Nazi shit, and well, it's gonna be like my son that goes in, and like I was talking um with Tony Cowden today, like we sent javelin missiles over there, anti tank rockets over there. Well, what happens when like my boy or like his buddies are over there getting shot at by with javelin missiles that we gave to these Nazis to fight Russians with? Like,
Same thing like you said. There's the Marty McFly. Hey, I've seen this one before.
yeah, because hey, that's happened a bunch. We just as recently as Afghanistan, but you can go all the way back to Vietnam. We helped train Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah.
During World War II, we helped train Ho Chi Minh to fight off the Japanese. Well, what they do? They took those tactics and fought off the French and then us.
For a country who just has to be involved in everyone else's shit, we are sure not very good at it.
I know it. I know it. They yeah, it's wild. So, and I don't know that's the Middle Eastern stuff was always pretty worrisome because it's more of a holy war down there.
Mm.
But I'm not worried about Iraq launching missiles at us. Like I never was really particularly worried about that. Even back in the day during the build up
Yeah.
to the Iraq invasion, I thought I back then I was worried about like them nuking Israel or something, but I wasn't worried about us over here. Now we're fucking with Russia. That's the
Yeah.
we've got U.S. soil 50 miles from Russian soil like that. They can get to us pretty quick. Like
Right.
and not that we can't do the same, but like that's what we've been worried about since 1945. So let's not do that.
Yeah. Yeah. We kind of have like a one size fits all foreign policy.
Yeah.
And I feel like a good like baseline to start out with is like have a little flow chart. Like, does this country have more than a tenuous grasp on running water? Yes
Yeah.
or no? Like,
Yeah.
like Iraq and Afghanistan, like you said, like they haven't quite figured out like indoor plumbing yet. So like, maybe we're not so worried about them attacking us here. But Russia,
Yeah.
that's a little bit of a different animal.
Yeah, like do they have nukes? Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
If yes, let's not try to get into a hot conflict with them. Like that,
Right.
that should be like the very basics of our foreign policy. Like that at the very minimum, like we should have that part figured out.
So you were talking just a few minutes ago about like the midterms and stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think about the last presidential election? Like, what's your thoughts on that regarding like the legitimacy of the election?
I think there was some fuckery. Obviously,
Yeah.
like Pennsylvania's one of the ones where I can point to, and I'll point to that one because it was a big state. I mean, like once they called Pennsylvania, that's kind of what was like the downfall. Like, and that at least that's kind of what sealed it for me. Is like, yeah, he ain't winning this thing.
Yeah.
Was when they called Pennsylvania. Part of that was the mail-in ballots, and part of that was pushed through by the Republican state house, or whatever they call it, and it later on was ruled unconstitutional, but it got thrown out in court because it was challenged by Republicans, but yet it was the Republicans that pushed it through.
Oh.
And yeah, so 2020, the more I look at it, Like I definitely think there was some fuckery. I think there may have been something with the Dominion machines, just on the fact of that one race in I think it was Michigan, where it called the race for a Democrat, and then later it was found out it was a glitch, and it actually flipped that race.
Mm.
I think that in and of itself it warrants an audit of all of those machines. Like just the fact that one race was changed like that should be enough. Like, hey, let's take a look and make sure nothing else was going on here. But also, I think I think the Trump like pushback on that was sloppy at best,
Yeah.
and more than anything, I think they just got worked. The Democrats worked the system. Was it right or ethical how they did it? I absolutely not. But illegal? I haven't seen. I've yet to see any convincing evidence of illegal actions being done. Like there's all the stories about extra ballots or ballots that didn't have a fold or something in them. I've yet to see any real proof of that. So
Right.
I
Well,
don't know.
Ian Smith, that guy who owns that gym in New Jersey.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, he's running for office now, and he posted something the other day that like was the most common sense thing I've ever seen. That he said, with all the insane ways that we spend money, like all the stupid shit we spend money on in this country, like we should at least audit every election. Like every election should just be like, okay, here's the results. Now here's an audit. Just
yeah.
And I think that's a pretty good idea. But with those mail-in ballots, like I don't know how Nevada is, but Oregon it's only mail-in. Like you have to fill out your ballots and either you can drop them off, but there's no like actual polling stations.
Oh.
And so everyone in Oregon votes by mail. And like that is just you're asking for fraud with that.
Well, I think I think that's probably right. I never voted at an actual polling place till I think the first time was like 2012 maybe. Because I'd always done absentee ballot. And so like I don't know. I don't know. I'm not big on the whole democracy thing. I still do it, but I vote, but I don't know. I'm not big. There was probably more fuckery in 2020 than previous elections, but either Trump has a horrible team behind him or he's making a bunch of claims that can't be backed up.
Well, that's not the Donald Trump I know.
Yeah, he would never make a bunch of claims that couldn't be backed up. Never. He wouldn't dream of it. No, I don't think 2022 is going to be a big. I don't think you'll see a huge outcry. You might see the Democrats raise a big stink because they're probably going to lose their ass in 2022. Right. 2024, who the fuck knows? That might as well be 100 years from now.
Yeah.
The way shit moves nowadays.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows? We might be speaking Russian by then. Who knows? Yeah, and the entire American West might look like the Bonneville Salt Flats by the time 24 rolls around. Who knows? It's that's an eternity away. But I think I don't know. I think if there's going to be any like big outcries about voter fraud, it's going to come from the left.
That's so funny.
Yeah. You went from Russia stealing the election in 2016 to 2020 being the safest,
Yeah.
most least fraudulent election of all time, to now, like, if we don't pass this Voting Rights Act or whatever, the John Lewis Act, then we'll never have a safe election ever again, even though the last one was the safest one ever.
Right. That's one thing I respect so much about the left is they're just absolute shamelessness.
Oh yeah, they don't give a fuck. It just by any means necessary, and there's no shame. I it's kind of funny. It's been interesting to watch how AOC has not gotten any smarter, but she has got progressively more establishment. She has not gotten any smarter, but she's at least realized a little bit how shit works
Right.
in DC. Because when she was making a whole bunch of noise, that's when all the investigations came out about how she was giving money to her boyfriend and whatnot. And then she started playing ball, and all those investigations kind of seemed to went away. And she doesn't talk much shit on Pelosi anymore.
Yeah, she hasn't gotten any smarter, but she's gotten a little more savvy.
Yeah, she has got a little more savvy. Marjorie Taylor Greene found out real quick how shit worked in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
She talked a bunch of shit before she got there, and they immediately removed her from everything. So she's basically been relegated to just like waiting on the floor, or just off the floor to call for an actual roll call vote. That's pretty much what she has been relegated to nowadays.
Yeah. God, it's gross how that fucking, I mean, the swamp, like Trump called it. That's really like kind of the best word for it. It really is.
Well, and then the fact that DC is a literal swamp too. It's there's not a better word for it, and it's toxic there. There's a handful of good ones, but man, there's literal a handful. I think Massey, Rand Paul, Mike Lee's pretty good. Yeah, Tulsi's not in office anymore, so
who?
Tulsi, she's not in office anymore, so she's about the only Democrat that I guess you gotta give Manchin a little bit of credit. He hasn't. He got a lot of shit for not just signing off on all this Green New Deal or whatever to build back better.
Didn't Trey Gowdy left too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, that was a shame.
He, I was a fan of Gowdy when he was in office, but the more I look back on him, he was just, he didn't do anything. He was good for some sound bites, but he didn't do anything.
Well, he demanded accountability at least.
Yeah,
he does in DC, but
he wasn't the worst guy there, but he's just another part of that whole machine. He's now like a Fox News host, and I think he works for a lobbying firm.
Oh, really?
I think so. I don't quote me on that. I know I saw him, like, I don't know if he was a contributor, but I want to say he was like hosting a show on Fox. There's some clip, I forget what it was, that I saw him the other day, and I want to say he was the host of that deal, but I don't know. He was good at his line of questioning, but I don't know. They're the Republicans are really good at doing like these January 6th style commissions. They were, I remember the Benghazi commission. That was Trey Gowdy's baby there. You know,
Yeah.
they milked that thing for a solid 3 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, at least.
Yeah, I mean there was not saying they were wrong to try to get to the bottom of it, but let's be honest, they had no intention of actually getting to the bottom of it because
Right.
they supported the running the guns through Libya into Syria
Yeah.
just as much as Clinton did.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like when they kind of button down that they're gonna, okay, we're really gonna stand up for this one issue. Like their bluff gets called every single time.
Yeah, it does. It's interesting to see. Like Trump did make he did make some waves even today. Like because there's not the gut reaction to just go to war from the Republican. At least from the Republicans in Washington anymore. There's because if this was 2015 and I mean, well, you just remember back in 2014 when Russia took Crimea. You had Lindsey Graham and John McCain and Tom Cotton, pushing for a no-fly zone and everything else, and they're still John McCain's not obviously, but everybody else that I listed still calling for that same shit, but they're not getting the same amount of support that they used to. So
Yeah.
like
God.
Trump's made some inroads on that point, anyways.
I can't remember exactly who it was. I want to say Tim Pool, but that might not. No, I don't know if that's right or not. It was shortly after John McCain died, and no, it wasn't Tim Pool. Who was it that there's like I think he used to be a UFC guy, and then he kind of like once he left the UFC, he started like a podcast that was like really big on conspiracy theories. Gosh dang.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
I can't remember who it was, but it wasn't Pat Miletich, was it?
Oh, fuck.
I can't remember.
Maybe.
It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
But anyway, it was shortly after John McCain died that he was talking about him on his podcast, and he referred to him as John, holy shit, it's hot down here, McCain.
Oh, yeah. But he died, and how many fucking funerals did they have for him? I mean, they like just
George Floyd.
Yeah, they just they kept carting that corpse around the country and holding memorial after memorial after memorial. I mean, he might have had more burials than HW did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was they just kept after it, and it was kind of cruel because Meghan McCain kept getting shit on the whole time, and it was kind of mean almost.
Hey, okay. Speaking of HW, we got to delve into conspiracy theory here.
Okay, well let's save that. Let's save that for the Patreon.
Patreon.
Yeah, so I gotta mention before we get out for the main show. Head over. What is the name of that group? It's for Casey Howell. It's hashtag on Wildfire Ranch Rodeo Benefit is the group name on Facebook. It's it'll be March 27th in Kiowa, Colorado. They're doing a play day and ranch rodeo. All benefits will go to help Casey Howell with his medical bills. I haven't heard. I think he's doing better. I know he was they did a medically induced coma for a minute, but I think he's out of that. Got a long road to recovery, but anyway, they head over to that group. They've got a silent auction, and there's links to everything, how to donate to a GoFundMe and whatnot. So check that out. And we're gonna talk some conspiracies on the other side of this. And you can head over to patreon.com/burningdaylight if you wanna join us. And everybody else, from Feedlot Bob and me, move your ass. We're burning daylight. And I think we're out. Well, hey, folks, I hate to interrupt the show. I know it's a good one, but I've got some people that help me keep this whole thing going every week, so I got to tell you about them. And first and foremost, we got Tracy Morrison. They're out of
Your eyes up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. We'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.